Blue 22.
You are watching Sports and Sorts live on YouTube. That's 75% sports, 25% sorts. And here are your hosts, Shane and the Bri Man.
Yes, welcome back. It is Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bri Man. We are here and ready to discuss lots of topics today. We have the MLB with the state of the Yankees, which is not so good right now. We also have a little bit of Carlos Correa talk. There was something that popped up on my feed last week, and it perturbed me a little bit. I was a little upset by it. So I'm seeing a little glitchiness on my end. I wonder if there's an output issue with this. Yeah, it is on high. So I wonder if I'm going to be a little glitchy. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, we have, we're going to talk about Carlos Correa and his contract negotiations that seem to go off the rails. We will talk about.
Fuck him. Sorry, I hate him.
We are
shit.
We are glitched. We are like.
Are we?
Yeah, it is definitely an issue here.
Because I'm watching you on YouTube and it looks fine.
And it's fine. There's no like delayedness.
No, just your head going back and forth like that. But
okay.
Other than that,
all right. So
I don't know.
So we'll talk about that. We're also going to get into the Masters this week. We'll give our who we think's going to win, what it's going to feel like without Tiger. We will give and what we think it might feel like without Tiger. We'll also get into our How Is It Only Rotten Tomatoes game. We spun the wheel last week, and that's the one that we got. And we're going to each give our How Is This Only rated this high on Rotten Tomatoes. We will also get into Godzilla vs. Kong, Wrestlemania. We will get into all sorts of things this week. And NCAA tournament, the buzzer beater by Jalen Suggs. Lots of good stuff to talk about. So we will get into it right now. And if you could, please go ahead. Click that subscribe button. Click that notification bell. Hit that like button. Smash it.
You'd be the first.
Smash it. Flip it. Rub it down. Oh no.
Oh no.
Yeah. Do all that. And we will. You'll be the first.
It took you that long to pick up on that.
Technically, you'd be the 70th.
You'd be the 70th.
70th subscriber.
My daughters think it's very funny that I'm stuck on 69 subscribers.
I'm sure they do. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that what you want out of a 15 and a 12-year-old?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, I have a 12 going on 13 as well, and I'm sure.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's get into the first topic today. Do you want to touch on Correa or?
Yeah, fuck him. Go ahead. You go ahead. You put that on the any list, so why don't you go ahead and start it, and then I'll weigh in with my fuck him, which is pretty much just going to be like.
So there was a thing that popped up on MLB Trade Rumors, and it said Carlos Correa said that he and the Astros did not get close at all to an extension in the spring. And all right, so you and I don't know if we're both the same when it comes to Carlos Correa, but Carlos Correa is a good player. He is. I mean, granted, he's kind of a D-bag. He's been kind of a loudmouth throughout his career. He's had certain years where it's deserved, where he could be a little bit more braggadocious.
My biggest issue with him, by the way, just to clear the air, is I believe Verlander, and Altuve are really the face of the whole cheating scandal. And they're not only the face of it, but they're brazenly proud of it. That's my issue with him. He gives zero fucks about it. He doesn't think that anything was done wrong, or if he does, he just doesn't care, which is probably the worst part. I would say that's actually worse, like knowing you did it and not caring, as opposed to maybe just being like, or as opposed to just kind of brushing it off. Yeah. He knows what they did and he does not care.
Right.
That's the issue. That's really the problem. So I have no love lost for that guy. He's a piece of shit. as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, I mean, over the course of his career, right? Let me see if I can pull up his stats real quick.
So he's a good player, although, you wonder how much of that was really him.
Right, exactly.
I'm sorry, you have to ask that question when it comes to these guys. You have to. You have to ask, and of course the fucking Astros have started 4-0 this year. Of course they have. Because why not?
So
of course they're off to a hot start.
You can't really go into last year too much, but I mean 264, 709 OPS.
Last year, I mean, listen, I'm not throwing last year out the books as far as numbers and statistics. I mean, it was a partial season.
Uh-huh.
But I do think that there are certain guys that you have to look at, and this goes both ways, whether they overperformed or underperformed.
Right.
Like Glaber. I mean, because actually Glaber's an interesting case study in that, because Glaber last year was bad during the regular season, and then he turned it on in the postseason. And the only reason I think he turned it on in the postseason was just because he was finally just starting to hit his stride.
Yeah.
It was just timing. It wasn't like, ooh, it's the postseason, so I'm going to do my best Derek Jeter and, step up. No, I think he was just finally getting his sea legs back,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really what it came down to, is he sorted it out, as we would use in our little clip. But
where do you
that's
think
really
you're going?
Yeah.
Glaber's
gonna sort it out.
Yeah, he had to sort it out, and he did. And he turned it on just at the right time.
Right.
So I can't hold good or bad years against anybody last year. I really can't, because I like to be fair about that argument. So, but anyways, get back to Carlos Correa.
Yeah. So, I mean, like
his
career, I mean, you're talking like a guy who has, for the most part, his career average is 276, which I know average isn't a big thing that a lot of people that are into statistics look at.
What's his on base?
His on base percentage is 350, which is I would say
it's not as good as I thought it would be.
It's good to average. For it's not great.
Basically what that tells me is he doesn't walk a lot. Mostly he's getting on.
His OPS is 832 for his career. But he's had years that he's been in the 700s. He's had 1 year where he was in the 900. No, 2 years where he's been in the 900s. But overall, I would say that he's like an above average player, like not like a star.
Yeah, no.
Above average.
No. And what I took from his whole little rant. See, here's the other problem I have. Put the cheating scandal aside for a second. This is what I hate a lot about professional athletes, and I'll lump him in obviously here, is I don't like that he brought this to the media. Mm-hmm. I know it's different to compare professional sports with like people say like you and me, right? Like you and I don't share my salary with you. You don't tell me, what your income is. That's personal shit. Like we don't talk about that. And it's none of each other's. It's not my business what you or your wife makes, and it's none of your business what I make. So here's where this is where the lines get blurry, right? Because in sports, contracts are basically negotiated publicly, and we do know what players make.
Right.
And right down, you can figure it out, like right down to the net income. Especially if you're in a state where there's no income tax versus the one where there is. I mean, that's not. So it's a little different. But I still think there's a basic principle involved here where it's not healthy practice to air this out in the media.
Right.
I mean, ultimately, Carlos, everyone's going to find out what you're making anyway, but don't air it out in the media. Like, just don't do that. It's just not appropriate in my opinion. And don't negotiate, because now you're using the media as a negotiating tactic. And I don't think it's going to play out that well for you. Also, here's the other big issue with this. He used Francisco Lindor as the standard for him. Well, sorry, that's not a good use for you, because you're not Francisco Lindor. You're just not. Right. You're not on that level. You're what my brother would call a nice little player, although maybe a little better.
Yeah,
maybe
a little better.
I should say that.
He's young too. He's still like in his mid-20s. So
yeah, he is. But Frankie Lindor, you're not. So let's not jump there yet. And don't use him as your bar for what you're going to make. You're
it's
not
tough for
getting
him to
that
be
contract.
compared to Francisco Lindor too, because Correa has had an abundance of stars on his team. like
Yeah.
Springer, Altuve. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, there are a lot. Whereas Francisco Lindor, like
Lindor's had some good lineup. He's had some good protection around him,
but it's not the same.
No,
Like
no.
There was, there is multiple players on the Astros that like projected. It's early in their career, but projected
Altuve,
to be like Hall of Famers.
Springer,
kind of deal. Like they're all stars, like every year.
Brantley, I mean, like
right.
He's got there's a lot of protection around the lineup for him.
Correct.
More so than there was for Lindor when he was in Cleveland. Now Lindor's got a better lineup around him in New York, but I don't like this. I don't like airing financials out and using the media as, your tactic to get it out there. But he basically signaled one thing. I mean, there was one thing to me that was crystal clear, is that he will not be a Houston Astro after this year. In fact, I would be shocked if the Astros don't try to trade him at the break. If you at this point, you're not going to be able to bring him back, because if what Correa said was true, so what he said was, the team showed no interest in giving me a long-term contract because they don't do big contracts. Well, okay, if that's the case, if they don't do big contracts, then that means that you're going to be gone. And that means that the Astros need to trade you to get some kind of value back for you. So he's going to be a trade deadline. Now, it would behoove him to play very well in this first half so that he can maybe get traded somewhere that, well, also just to show yourself off. I mean, right? Mm-hmm. You are not going to be on that team next year. So you need to have a good contract year. If you're Carlos Correa, you need to go out there and hit the cover off the ball this year and play well in the field. And listen, and the more the Astros win, I think the better that benefits him too, because it just looks then he's part of a winning franchise. So I think it would benefit him greatly to go out and be himself, and maybe even a little better this year. But I think he's going to get traded at the deadline. I think the Astros would be stupid not to.
Yeah.
If everything he just said is true, not to mention the fact that, again, he's airing this out with the press, he's going to be gone. He's going to be gone by July.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. All right. So I don't particularly love his comments just because I think he's thinking he's better than he is. That was the main reason why I didn't like the comments.
That was my biggest takeaway too, was you basically just compared yourself to Francisco Lindor, and you really shouldn't have done that.
Right. Yeah.
Not in my opinion.
Right. So that's really where I'm at, is I just don't think he is as good as he thinks he is. So, all right, let's get into the state of the Yankees. So we will get into that right now, and I can't wait to get a little graphic for this, because it's the Yankees.
The state of the Yankees.
I just can't wait to get a little graphic for that, because that's going to make me very happy. Even if they're not playing great, which they're not right now. I had made some notes on all this, and, because their bullpen's kind of been a little shaky here and there. Starting pitching has been okay. Their offense has been crappy, particularly like Aaron Hicks. When you have like Aaron Hicks batting in the third slot, and I think I have it written down here, he has 1 for 12 with 7 Ks and 2 walks. He's a good center fielder with a great arm, but the dude is like a bobblehead up there, bouncing, like his head is all over the place. He can't like even come close to making contact. He has just been horrid. And he is a guy that I complain about year after year after year.
Well, you get to complain for another 4 more years.
This is what I think. I think that it's time to part ways. Get what you can get for him and move on.
Well, the contract isn't horrible in the sense that the average, per year is not awful. It's just the length.
I think if you put him in on a team that's not as high pressure, where it's not so hyper focused on, I think he could be a fringe all-star player. He's never going to be better than that, but I think he could be a fringe all-star guy. Like, I think he could be on the verge of being an all-star on a different team.
7 years, $70 million. That's not an all-star contract. That's an average baseball player contract.
That's what I think. I think when he plays at his best, he could be a fringe all-star guy. I think it's just
why?
There's too many eyes on him
Why
all
is
the
he
time.
hitting third in this lineup?
Because he walks so much.
What?
That's why. That's got to be the reasoning.
He's a disaster.
His on base percentage is usually great, and that's his best feature when it comes to offensive.
If we were to do a segment of this show that was called like what is the bane of my Yankees existence right now, like if we did it every week, it would probably change every week. It would be it's all the errands. Yeah, it's all the AA runs right now, all of them. And Judge, oh man, you know what worries me most about Judge? Listen, Hicks is what he is. Okay, he's an average. Sorry, he's just an average baseball player. A good center fielder, good arm.
Yeah.
At this point, I don't know how you could call him anything less than a below average hitter.
Right.
I mean, listen, let's not overreact too much to the first 3 games. But Aaron Judge is the bigger concern for me. Mm-hmm. And this is a long-term concern. This isn't just based on 3 games. This is, and I texted this to you the other day, and I couldn't believe it. And I only knew it because I think Michael Kay said it on the broadcast, which was that Aaron Hicks has never had a walk-off hit in his career. I mean, he's never had a game-winning walk-off hit.
Hicks? Or Judge?
No, Judge.
Judge. You said Hicks.
In his career.
All right.
Oh, sorry. I meant Judge.
Yeah.
And that's like...
They're both basically the same player right now.
Astonishing. That's astonishing.
It is a little astonishing, yes.
Just think about that for a second.
Yeah.
It's not like the guy has only been a Yankee for a couple of years. Okay.
Well he kind of has because he's only played half seasons.
I mean, if you add all the games together, yeah, I suppose. But even still, like Gleyber Torres had a walk-off hit in like his first year.
Yeah.
I mean... And he's had probably a couple. Listen, the fact that Aaron Judge, to this point in your career, we're not just talking about walk-off hits.
Right.
Just also look at him in clutch situations. It's not good. That's not his forte. It's really not. And that's how we're going to, no pun intended, judge him, unfortunately, because the guy looks the part. He's an absolute Adonis physically.
Yes.
He's got a cannon for an arm in right field. He plays a good right field. I think it's like we're talking about Hicks again, except just at a relatively better level. You know, he's got an even bigger arm, maybe plays even slightly better defense, hits better, but man, oh man, is he missing the clutch gene. He really is. He really is. And if he is the face of he's not only the face of the Yankees, but he's one of, as we've talked about before, probably one of the 3 faces of baseball, you know, and right. And so I'm sorry, you can't be a face of baseball, in my opinion, without having some clutch factor. There's just none of that there. There's no evidence of it. None. I've seen no evidence of that. And if there is any, I apologize, but that might also be an indication, though, of, you know, the fact that if he has had any of those moments, they're few and far between.
So, let's see if I can do this real quick.
And while you're looking for whatever you're looking for, I'm actually, believe it or not, I'm actually going to be the voice of reason here for a little bit. I'm not going to overreact to these first 3 games. Yeah, they only took one.
I mean, to be honest, the only thing that makes me nervous is
the lineup.
Is just a little bit of the lineup. That's really the biggest thing that makes me nervous.
Yeah, because the pitching, I don't know how you could actually be too upset about the pitching.
No, I mean, I am not a big Domingo Germán fan, but I don't think he should be. I don't think he should be a starting pitcher. I think he's more of a mid reliever guy. But I think that you have Kluber pitched well. Cole pitched well. They didn't pitch great. I mean, I think Kluber struggled because, I mean, he obviously, his whip was 2.
He lost the plate in one of those innings.
Right, and that's what he's going to do. He's going to do that from time to time. I think just coming back, there's a lot of rust that's there. So I think he's not going to be that marksman that he used to be, but I think he's going to be as solid in the middle of that rotation.
I think as long as he's healthy, he will be.
Yeah, and I think they're going to monitor his innings a little bit too, which is good. So, 5 Ks
in the early
walks.
go, yeah.
He had a 2 whip, which isn't great, but he did only give up. He had 2.25 ERA for the game.
Yeah.
And then you have Cole, 5 1/3. He had
just
a little
made the
bit
one
of
bad
rust.
pitch.
He had that one bad pitch, but 8
Hernandez,
Ks in 5 1/3. That's pretty normal.
Typical Garrett Cole, yeah.
You're looking for probably closer to 6 or 7 innings per game, but opening day
again, opening day cold.
But his offense is just It's
anemic.
terrible.
Anemic
it's
is
bad.
the word you're looking for.
It's bad. So I'm looking forward to seeing the Yankees start to hit the stride at the plate. Hitting is definitely going to come second, but especially when you have some guys who can really get into some bad slumps and be there for a while. So like people like Stanton, Judge, even Sanchez, who's been hot at the beginning of the year so far. Hicks, all these guys can get into some bad slumps. Frazier, LeMahieu, and Sanchez are the only ones that have been hitting right now. So that's kind of where we're at. They might need to pump the brakes on Hicks for a little while, let him get him straight, but just throw Gardner out there because Gardner is seeming to see the ball okay right now at the beginning of the year. He's only has like 3 at bats, but still, you might need to pump the brakes on him a little bit.
I want to go back to yes, I agree. I want to go back to Stanton, by the way, real quick. Boone said something yesterday, I think, in the pregame press conference that disturbs me.
Yeah,
and I don't know if there was any clarification on this, what exactly he meant, if it was just meant to be as like a preface for the beginning of the season, and maybe this will change over the course of the season. But he said that Giancarlo Stanton would not play more than 5 games in a row. In other words, for every 6th game, he would get a day off. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I've got some. First of all, if that is a throughout the year thing, and not just like a beginning of the season, just to kind of get him up to game speed, whatever. I don't really know. If that is a year-long thing, that is a horrendous idea. First of all, Giancarlo Stanton, just based on his history, he's going to miss 15 to 20 games, maybe even more, just because of injury. I mean, the guy is an oblique injury waiting to happen, and oblique injuries take longer than that even to heal.
Indeed.
So right off the bat, you have to shave. Okay, so in a 162 game schedule, you have to shave 15 right off the bat, maybe even 20 with him, just because he's going to get injured. He's going to. There's just too many muscles there not to strain. Okay?
He's got like 30 extra muscles than most people.
He's right. It's. I mean, the guy is, again, it's like Judge, just built like a Greek god. I mean, he's carved out of stone. He's fucking granite. But that's not conducive. I don't think that's a great, it's a great body. I've never believed that those are great sports bodies. I think lean and wiry are the good sports bodies. Guys who, focus more on stretching and being limber and fucking hot rock yoga or whatever the fuck,
Pilates.
People do
Get
these days.
Pilates on it.
Yeah, whatever that, right? That to me is the healthier sports body, as opposed to the guy who's, when he takes his shirt off, he looks, he looks like Hercules. That doesn't do much for me. That's nice for like
not on the baseball field anyway.
That's it's great for a magazine cover. It doesn't do shit for me as far as your ability to perform on the field and to stay healthy, which of course, again, the new great saying is the best ability is availability in sports. But now on top of those injuries, if you are saying that you're going to now extract him like once every 5th or 6th game, you're basically taking another 20 some odd 30 games off.
Right.
So at this point, are you telling me that Giancarlo Stanton, who's making 30 some odd $1 million a year, is now like a 120 game player? Is that what you're saying, Aaron Boone? That Giancarlo Stanton is going to basically shoot up for you 120 times a year. The guy is meant to be your cleanup hitter, but you're going to take him out and also, here's my biggest problem with this more than anything else. It's not like he's a 38-year-old left fielder. He's not Brett Gardner, who needs a blow every few days because he's fucking old. The man is in his late 20s, early 30s, and he's a DH primarily. Why do you need to sit him?
Well, the good news is that...
Are you actually like, is this like preventive medicine? Like you're actually proactively trying to prevent him from getting injured just on a given day?
In the last 2 years, he has 10 home runs.
I understand. Yeah. So would you want him on the field a little more often?
10. A whole 10 home runs in the last 2 years.
Boy, that's a lot of money per home run. A lot.
I mean, he only
He's
had
getting what? It's no way.
he has about 165 at bats, but
is that $6 million per home run? My
he's
math's
getting like
not
$1 million
good.
per at bat, basically.
Yeah. I just don't understand that. I mean, again, I don't know. Maybe I missed some clarification on that. I don't know what Boone actually said. Like if he just said, oh, maybe just to start the season, this is how it's going to go. But, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. Hey, Damian weighed in
Yeah, he did.
a few minutes ago. Good morning, fellas. My Red Sox are off to an historic start.
Yeah, we got it.
First time opening 0-3 at home. Wow.
And
okay.
I responded, sorry, LOL.
Yeah, I see it. Okay. They're not a good team. They aren't as bad as they looked over the weekend. You know what's weird with the Red Sox is I still like
Nothing about them.
it's a small core. I mean, as far as the lineup goes, but I mean, I don't know how you don't love the idea of long-term Xander and Devers. Their pitching, I guess, would obviously be the biggest concern. Sale is not coming back until, what is it, mid-season, right? And then, I mean, I love Eduardo Hernandez, but he got COVID, right?
Who, Rodriguez?
Oh, sorry,
Rodriguez?
Eduardo Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Yes, I said Hernandez. Eduardo Rodriguez, he got COVID, right? And,
dead arm. He's got a
and
dead
then-
arm, I think.
yeah.
I think that was
I love his stuff.
He's got great stuff. He could be a really good pitcher. He hasn't seemed to have much luck, either with injuries or whatever. But
I think maybe Damian. If I recall though, he did get COVID, and that wasn't good because does he have a heart condition of some kind?
Oh,
and they're
maybe,
like
I don't
worried,
know.
like long term, they might be worried about him.
yeah, that is
So-
something that is out there about that. We also have Joe, your boy Stick. He sent us something as well.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. He sent a private text. I'm not going to put his number in here or anything, but I'm going to put this on here. He said, someone, exclamation, told you about Hicks and Judge.
Well,
I've been on Hicks for years.
Listen, Hicks. I'm not going to give him any credit for Hicks. That's low hanging fruit. But Judge, yeah, I'll give Joe some credit for that. He has been anti-Judge for a long time.
I'm not
Because
anti-Judge. I still think if Judge can stay healthy, I think that he's going to be a very good player. He has too big of a strikeout zone
Yeah.
to be like a superstar, like to be like a Mike Trout or something like that. Like I love the name is there for it. To have that name Judge is just tremendous. Like having that name, absolutely fantastic.
He's got everything, but apparently
He just can't stay on the field. He can't stay healthy. I mean,
That too.
You can't say that he's not clutch. I mean, because his career is still very young because he hasn't played much.
Except he's not very young.
Right, but his career's young because he hasn't played a lot.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It took him a little while to get there too.
And yeah, it took him a while to get there. It took him now he's having a hard time staying healthy. There's just a lot of issues. So like, I'm hoping that he can be like one of those players that just all of a sudden starts to get healthy, can string together 3 or 4 good, healthy years. So you can see his like 280, 35 to 45 and like 120 RBIs, and he can actually string together some time. But until he does that, he's just hot garbage. I mean, because like, it's not that he's a waste, because he's a nice athletic player, but he's having a hard time. So Damian said he's got a dead arm right now. Isn't he talking about Eduardo Rodriguez? He has COVID and had a heart problem.
Yeah,
developed
That's
because of it.
And now
missed all of
because
2020 because of it.
And because with COVID, we don't know what the long-term impacts are. That's scary. I mean, that's frightening. So
Yeah, it is.
And I like him. I mean, there's not a lot of Red Sox I like. The one Red Sox that I really liked, Benintendi, actually ended up going to the Royals. So now I can actually like him a little more. I can actually root for him.
Yeah,
it was harder before.
All right, let's get on to the I think we're pretty much covered baseball for now. I mean, it's very early in the season. I can't wait to start talking about this next week after everybody's got like a good 10 games under their belt and everything like that, and then see where everybody's going. That'll be exciting to see how things are starting to shake out. Getting into the first month or two of the season will be tremendous to see how the health of like Kluber, how the health of Judge, if Gary Sanchez can continue to have putting the bat on the ball and having
Yep.
it leave the yard, which would be great because you need him. Frazier, another guy who I know that you're a big fan of Frazier.
That's my guy.
Rooting for Frazier. I want him to be good. And he
By the way, you know what? Yesterday's game
he made a great
gave you
defensive
even
play too.
Yesterday's game gave you a really good indication of why the maturation of Clint Frazier, and he literally, I don't know, was it the 6th or the 7th inning there? 6th inning, I think, or maybe it was the 5th. He took it upon himself to manufacture a run for the Yankees. So he bloops that little ball into no man's land down the first base line, heads up, runs to second, steals third, and then is able to get in on like a weak ground ball.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally was like, I'm fucking scoring.
Yeah.
I don't care how.
And that's good. That's kind of like that scrappiness that you like to have. And
right.
And he's not just a scrappy player too. Like the dude's got some power. Like he should be hitting. He's got
the epic bat speed.
Yeah, he should have that 35 home run potential. So
sure.
We'll see how it goes, but I'm hoping that he can stay healthy as well because he's had a bit of an injury bug too over the last couple of years. A little,
yeah. I am telling you right now, I am steamrolling towards getting that 77 road Yankees gray authentic jersey. That's going to happen.
Yeah, so
that's happening.
I'll be very interested to see how everything plays out. Seeing when Britton finally comes back and how the bullpen kind of shakes out. I haven't really loved the way that Darren O'Day's been pitching.
Yeah,
but King.
I like Darren O'Day,
but the King's coming out there.
Oh my goodness,
he was
what a dominant display.
Pinpoint accuracy yesterday.
Yeah, boy, he looked good.
That's
why there were, yes, they lost 2 out of 3, but there were some, mostly on the pitching side. There were some positives.
To a very young team, a very young and spunky team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know the Blue Jays are going to be. We talked about that last week. They're going to be pains in the asses. Get used to it. They're going to be a good team. They're going to be there all year.
They're going to be pains in the butt for years.
Yeah, they are. They are.
This next 3 to 5 years at least, until they all
suck it up, Buttercup. That's the way it's going to be.
Until they can't pay all those guys, and then and one of them goes to the Yankees, and
yeah.
When we get Vlad Guerrero Jr.
I was just going to say, by the time we can get Luke Voigt out of first, put Vlad right in, that'll be awesome. Although Vlad's got some technique to work on over at first base there, though. He is. As a former first baseman, let me tell you, man, he needs to learn to straddle the bag.
I also think he has
he
has some technique at the dinner plate too that he needs to work on.
Oh no, but supposedly he lost 40 pounds.
Yeah. And that's good. That's good. I'm glad because it's not really so much the size of him, the way he looks. Because we obviously saw Cecil Fielder play for years, right?
Yeah,
it's more of a health aspect.
Exponentially bigger than Vlad Guerrero.
It's more like a health aspect. Like it's really rough on your joints and everything. It's going to shorten your career. Like that's why you want him to slim down. Like Pablo Sandoval, he was ginormous and then lost a bunch of weight, became terrible, and then put it back and never was able to be the same. Like so it's just and that's going to be like. It's just horrible on your joints. Absolutely terrible on your joints. More than anything else, especially when you're pounding, running around on cleats around the base. It's just terrible. And if you're on AstroTurf or whatever you're playing on, it's going to be terrible for you.
I can tell you, as a guy who once weighed 265, extra weight on the joints, it's not what you want.
No, it's
not. You feel a lot better when you're in the high 180s.
When you're nice and wiry like Jeter for your whole life.
Yeah.
You're going to have a long career.
Yes. 20 years. Yeah. The longest tenured Yankee ever.
Mm-hmm. All right. So let's get into, let's switch over to, let's stick with sports, but we'll go to Masters week. We're not going to spend a lot of time on the Masters. But there's a couple things I do want to touch on.
I mean, didn't the Masters just happen?
Yes, it did. November. Dustin Johnson. Let's get into it. Let's just give our quick take on who we think might win and who we want to win.
Oh well, okay. I mean, and I think we both want the same person to win.
You might be surprised.
Oh,
so, all right. Okay. So, and then without Tiger, what has to happen for there to be like the similar magic or what's it just going to be like without Tiger there? Because, obviously everybody knows that he's been in a big car wreck. He's gone through multiple surgeries. From what the whispers that you're getting, you're hearing that things are going in the right direction, but you never know what's going to happen as far as going forward. This guy's golf career could be over. I'm not going to bet against Tiger because I think he's going to do whatever he can to get back to playing. Unfortunately for him, he may never be competitive again as far as like one of those top golfers that's going to be in contention on the big, major days, major Sundays. But I'm really hoping that he can come back to somewhat and really have the will to be able to get through like those major tournaments, because that's where golf really needs him to shine. And then also just, is he going to get to that point where is he going to have the capability to do kind of what Phil did eventually? Because he's not there yet. He's not old enough yet. But is he going to go to the senior tour at some point? Or will he just call it quits by the time he gets to the senior tour? How much does he love golf, or how much does he just want to compete with the best of the best? That's what I don't know. And whereas Phil Mickelson, you can tell he just loves golf and loves money and loves winning. And that's why he went to the senior tour, because he saw, I can still compete with these guys. I can still compete with these guys. I can iron out the kinks against the seniors while I'm still playing and winning tournaments. But over here, I can take the things that I worked on there and bring them over here and try and compete. Now, he hasn't had a great success doing that, but anyway. Damien is also commenting on, as a guy who currently weighs 265 plus 10, I can tell you it's not what you want.
No,
it is very tough on the joints. I was in the 240, 50 range, and it was definitely runs rough on the joints, and it still bothers me today. And I'm, about 60 pounds lighter. So, all right, let's get into the Masters. Who do you think is going to win? Like, if you had to bet money, who do you think is going to win?
I mean, wouldn't it be hard to bet against the defending champ who just won a few months ago? Dustin Johnson's got to be, I don't know what the odds are. I would imagine he's the odds-on favorite. I can
tell you who the odds-on
I would like to see Jordan. I would like to see Jordan win,
Spieth?
Jordan Spieth, yeah. Obviously I want Phil is playing, right?
I would imagine so.
As far as I know,
I could find out.
Of course, I want Phil to win. Get himself. Well, this would be like a fourth. God, if Phil won again, I think it'd be a fourth green jacket, which would be really impressive. Other than that, I
think. Hold on, let me see.
Assuming Phil is in the field, I want him to win. If he's not, I would like to see either Jordan Spieth win or listen, Rory McIlroy. I would love to see him get one. Hard to bet against Dustin Johnson, though. The guy just won the damn tournament. By the way, that would be incredible. How can you imagine like a guy winning the Masters twice in like 6 months? That'd be fucking unbelievable.
It would be.
That'd be a cool story, wouldn't it?
I think it would be a cool story. Correct. Yes. So right now, Dustin Johnson is the favorite.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. I'll tell you what. I'll make a prediction. I'll say Jordan Spieth. I'll say Jordan gets it done.
All right.
Kind of maybe gets over some of his yips and gets it done.
That's taken a lot of the shine out of this here, because Jordan Spieth is my guy, and that's who I'm also. I am off the win last week in Valero, which isn't something that typically happens. It's not something that you usually do back-to-back wins. You might go like Masters and then win the next tournament if you play in the next tournament. Like Phil Mickelson has done that before, where he's won a tournament and then gone and won the next tournament. Yeah. We've seen that happen before. But the biggest thing here is, I think I really like where Jordan Spieth's game is right now. I like where his head's at. I really like the way that he's been playing. He has been in contention or just putting up big numbers like 66, 64 in some good rounds on the weekends, which is very important when it comes to these major tournaments. So I'm going to go with Jordan Spieth, who is the second highest favorite here. You have Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas are both 10-1 odds. Dustin Johnson is 9-1 odds. And then Bryson DeChambeau is 11-1. Rory's 14-1.
Phil Mickelson had a what is being called an absolute, just a horrendous.
That hole?
That 18th hole of the Texas Open where he shot a 10.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Shit, I probably could have.
It was bad. It was really bad.
Was it like that Tin Cup moment?
Oh my God. No, it was, you have to watch it.
I will
have to watch it.
I gotta watch it.
You can, I have it on, I think I saved it on Instagram, but I'm not sure.
That just sounds like a massive meltdown.
No, it wasn't. It was just like he hit the ball and like kind of chunked it a little, went in the water, like rolled off and went in the then he like had to play off rocks. And like and then he hit the ball off the rock and it didn't go anywhere. And like it was just it's not something only Phil could do, you know? Like he plays in all sorts of weird shots and stuff like that. And you know, sometimes, more often than not, he pulls it off, and then other times he doesn't. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm not good. Okay, so Masters odds. All right, so I'm not good with odds, but Phil Mickelson's odds are plus 8,000. So, can somebody tell me? Oh, hi, Isla. Can somebody tell me what? Again, I'm not a gambler, so I literally don't know. Like, what does that mean? Plus, so if Phil Mickelson's odds are plus 8,000, what does that mean?
That means if you play $1, you win 8,000.
Get the fuck out.
Kind of.
Really?
Yeah. No, $100. $100 I think is $8,000.
Holy
I think that's what it is.
Shit. I mean, it might be worth it. I don't gamble though, so. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So if I put $100 down, well, the current odds are actually plus 10,000 as of today.
That's how low his chances are of winning.
As of April 4th. Wow. Yeah. So okay. So you're saying
it probably did not help.
So if I
I
put down 100, you're saying I could win 10 grand?
I think so. Yeah. Fuck. I think that's how it works. I don't gamble like that. Like I do like FanDuel stuff from time to time. I don't gamble like that, so I'm not 100% sure.
I don't either. Plus,
I will be doing a FanDuel this weekend for
now.
The Masters
Ricky Fowler has the same odds.
Oh, he hasn't been good for years.
He's terrible, huh?
He's not terrible. He just hasn't been he's got the name recognition because he was good for a while, and I don't know, a lot of people find him attractive, and he's just got a good personality, but he hasn't been like a stud for a while.
All right, I want to put 100 down on Henrik Stenson. That pays out at 35,000 plus 35,000.
I don't know. You're gonna have to double check that. You're gonna have to Google that or something.
All right. Yeah, Freddie Couples is like plus 100,000.
Yeah. So now let's get into it. Like, so who I'd love to see win is I'd love to see Jordan Spieth or Phil Mickelson. Either one of those guys, that's who I would love to see win. Jordan Spieth, just because he's so young and I want him to get back on the major train, and he's already got 3 wins. I would love to see him pull this one out. And
I can't
really
root against Phil, but you know.
And that's the other guy. I would love to see Phil get it, being in his 50s and all. Like, that would be awesome. But
Christ, is he in his 50s now? Yeah, it's almost over.
He still plays, though. He still keeps
up with everybody. He is actually 50.
He keeps up with all the players.
He got himself into better shape.
Oh, yeah. Dude, he keeps up with a lot of the players on tour for, like, distance and all that kind of stuff. Like, he can still play. It's just he needs to be at the top of his game to be able to win a tournament. Like 100%. He can't have any of those.
Yeah, he can't be
Phil Mickelson moments.
He can't be the gunslinger.
No.
He can be.
Really... No, he has to be the gunslinger, but it all has to work out.
It has to all work out.
Yeah. That's the problem.
He doesn't really know any other way. He's not a conservative player.
Right.
He doesn't. He's not a layup guy. That's not his game.
It is fun to watch.
I can't say it hasn't served him well. The guy's won 5 majors, so I mean,
He's one of the greatest golfers of all time.
Yes, he is.
All right, so let's get into now. What do we think? What needs to happen this week for like the Masters to like have any kind of like media coverage outside of golf?
Well, I mean, I don't know about outside of golf, but I can tell you, I think going back to Spieth, I think what the most compelling storyline would be is if he's in it on Sunday and it comes down, to him having to make a big clutch shot, because that's kind of the thing that has been his bugaboo, right? I mean, he collapses a little bit, and I think you need to see him get over that hump. That to me would be the story. I mean, to make it supersede golf and be sort of transcendent, I don't really know.
So
short of Tiger saying on Thursday, I'm playing, I'm in. That's it.
What I think really needs to happen is I think you need to have like 3 or 4 legit stars in the contention going into like Saturday, Sunday. Like if you have like Koepka, who I do think could win. I think if you have Koepka, so what you need is a couple of the guys that you need like a guy like Jordan Spieth in there, because like people are rooting for him because of, such a success that he had when he was younger and how he struggled over the last 3 or 4 years. So that's a good thing to root for. You could have like someone in there like a Brooks Koepka, who is kind of like sometimes a villain, but also kind of people like the guy because he's like kind of like he'll give other golfers the business, he'll like throw like he has no problem like talking smack. He has no problem doing any of that kind of stuff. But he puts up too when he's on the course. Yeah. So if you have something like him and maybe like a Rory and a Bryson and like a Patrick Reed, and you have like these juggernauts going head to head and really going after each other with like some lead changes here and there, I think that could be like a big deal. Like you have some of those big, like especially DeChambeau, because he's like a guy that's kind of transcending golf a little bit due to like his quirkiness and the way that he plays and how he got jacked and how he's just hitting bombs, and his different style of playing.
I mean, if you want the I mean, not just to like squarely focus in here on Phil, but I think the other thing that could be a blow up story is if an older guy comes out of nowhere and really,
if you have somebody like a Freddie Couples that just kind of like is plugging away and at 7 under on Sunday or something like that, and like in contention, like
exactly, something like that. I mean, that would be fun.
I think that does. It's going to be tough to like get the younger generation involved.
I mean, because it would be like if Phil winning would be sort of like the equivalent of Jack winning, right? When Jack was 48.
Yeah.
I mean, that's similar storyline,
right?
But it's not impossible.
Phil is also one of those guys who's kind of transcends golf, because people know Phil. They know Lefty, like, because he's been around for such a long time. But like, I think if you have like these younger guys, like the Bryson DeChambeau and Patrick Reed, both those two guys are, I wouldn't say unlikable. Patrick Reed is unlikable, who's kind of a jerk. Koepka, who can talk smack, and he would like talk smack against those guys. And then if you had like a Rory or a Justin Thomas, a Dustin Johnson, and a Spieth or something along those lines, those guys all going head to head.
Yeah.
Like, I think then you might have like either some verbal stuff that's going on in the background, which could, kind of ripple out into regular sports world. Something like that needs to happen on the big stage like that. It just hasn't happened in a long time. Where you've had like either these villainous type players like a DeChambeau and a Patrick Reed and like Koepka and Justin Thomas or Jordan Spieth and all those guys kind of in there as well. Rory. Yeah, it would be good to see those guys kind of like some major championship guys going up head to head against each other. Like, when you had like Ernie Els and Vijay Singh and all these guys, like those guys weren't going to transcend the game, but like it was good to see like these guys going up against each other in major championships.
And those
like
were good. Those were good players.
Phil and Ernie going head to head.
Yeah, Phil and Ernie head to head in the Masters when Phil won his first Masters in 04. Yeah,
it's just good stuff. It helps bring the sport up to another level.
Yep.
Even Colin Morikawa, who I love, I think he's just such a fun player. He's always smiling.
How about my boy? How about my boy Francesco Molinari?
Dude is like, he's had some issues.
Yeah, he's
some golfing issues over the last year and a half or so.
At one point, he was a very fundamentally sound player, though.
Yeah, he's just everybody has those.
They have their moments. You get it's like a one-hit wonder.
Kind of. Not really. I mean, he's a good golfer, but he's not I know what you mean. All right. So let's see what we got here. I'm getting all sorts of stuff from Damien on Facebook here. Oh, the Loki trailer dropped.
Oh, it did?
Mm-hmm.
A new one? When is that? Is that July, August? I'm trying to remember.
I don't remember. There's so many things that are coming out.
No, I'm excited for that.
He also sent me something about Mortal Kombat mashup with Barrios and Burns pitching duel. Okay. Complete with a gory finish at the end. Oh, that's kind of cool. I have to check that out.
Are you looking forward to Mortal Kombat?
I'm so looking forward. Did you see that trailer?
Yeah, I've seen them. I mean, I loved the game, so I'm in on it.
You didn't find it cool when Sub-Zero like froze the blood and then
Oh
stabbed
no,
him?
no. It was. Listen, it's cool. I'm looking forward to it. I am. It looks just like a kind of stupid romp, which is maybe that's a good way for us to segue into Godzilla versus Kong. So.
No, that doesn't look like a stupid romp. That looks like it's going to be like a complete.
Well, come on. If you're looking for great storylines, I don't think.
I didn't say it was going to be a great storyline. I just think it's going to be an awesome martial arts film. Like I think it's going to be like a cool film to watch. Like it's going to be one of those films that you're not looking for the best storyline. You're looking for a kind of cohesive storyline that gives you somewhat of, gets you sucked in a little bit. But overall, I think it's
I don't know if great martial arts film should really enter into the discussion. You want to talk about like great martial arts films, you're thinking like Bruce Lee, Enter the Dragon kind of stuff. But this is probably more like fantasy martial arts.
All of it is fantasy. I mean, come on.
Like even Karate Kid would be a better.
Come on, you're being ridiculous. Have you seen Raid and Raid 2? Oh my God, those movies blow away anything.
All right, I'm not gonna pretend to know much about martial arts here. So
Raid and Raid 2, those are movies that are subtitled that you need to watch.
I played Mortal Kombat a lot as a kid, big fan. So looking forward to come here, and then I want to see get over here.
He says it different. He says it a little more gurgling, like
got a little grit. He's got a little Christian Bale grit on it.
I like it.
A little. Why are you trying to kill me? Kind of,
Where's Rachel?
Where's Rachel?
Rachel Green from Friends? What? All right, so let's get into what are we going to talk about now? Oh, movie. Let's get into the movie. We'll do Wrestlemania at the very end. We'll touch on that.
We still have our
How Is It Only, and we do. But let's do our movie review real quick. Because
hold on, before the movie review, real quick, just a quick thing, because before we move off of sports, so crazy weekend with the Final Four.
Oh, but yes,
we are getting the Final Four matchup.
Totally forgot about that.
That I think people want, Gonzaga and Baylor. And I listen, I am 100% rooting for the Zags because first of all, they have not fulfilled that destiny. Yeah, that was just unbelievable. That's a team of destiny kind of shot right there, right? And now they are going up against Baylor. That is the final. I think that is the championship that a lot of people wanted. Probably the two best teams, frankly. I know Baylor was only a 2 seed, but even still, I mean, come on. That is a great final. I will actually tune in to watch that tonight. Even though there's like about a zero skin in the game for me as far as rooting interest, but I really want the Zags to win because this is to me a culmination of many, many years for Gonzaga. They have been in the discussion as a mid-major for a long time, and they have not gotten over the hump. This is their best chance. And I'm going to just come out and say it, like, this is going to be to me one of those things where, like, if they don't get it done now, they might, that university might never win. Because this is your best chance. You are, of course, the big storyline. Can you be the first team since Bobby Knight's 1976 Indiana Hoosiers to go undefeated? That's a humongous storyline. Dude, you were talking 44 years since we have had a men's team in Division I go undefeated to win a national championship. That is nothing to bat an eye at, man. That's big business right there. This is as intriguing a game as I think you can get. And I think it's going to be a tight game. And I love watching Final Four and NCAA championship games when they are tight at the end and you can just see, the moments are just so big. So I'm just really looking forward to that tonight. I think that's going to be fun. I don't want to spend too much time. The Jalen Suggs shot was crazy. To beat the buzzer and to send Gonzaga into the championship against Baylor. And now we get to see how it all culminates tonight. But man, oh man, this has actually been a pretty fun. It's nice to have March Madness back. And to have it end with, in my opinion, probably the two best teams playing each other in the final is special.
All right. Yeah, I'm looking for that. That shot with Jalen Suggs was just absolutely incredible. Just came back up, pulled up, did like a Damian Lillard kind of, from just over half court, off the glass, and just it was fun to watch.
It was.
And I watched it over and over and over again. That highlight.
It was
a lot of fun
I watched
to watch.
it a few times too. Yeah, it was.
But yeah,
Actually, the best part was seeing some of the reaction videos from Baylor fans
yeah.
who were like all kinds of excited
Yeah.
when they tied the game, and then,
Hey.
that shot, and like
You want to be the best? You got to beat the best. Yeah, exactly.
well, it was just a lot of that. It was just a lot of that.
Hey, you want to beat the best. They want to be the best. You got to beat the best. So Baylor should be excited about that.
Yes.
Go in and play.
Are we? You want me to just full on quote the Nature Boy here? To be the man, you got to beat the man.
Yes, you should. Absolutely. If we go an episode without quoting Nature Boy, that happens all the time. All right. So I'm surprised you didn't notice my hat.
I did actually.
Oh,
Bushwood
Country
CC,
Country
champion.
Club, 1980 champion. I was only 2 years old.
That's pretty cool.
I also have this one too.
Golfers are athletes too. Yeah, well, they are. You're not lying.
Especially now. Look at Brooks Koepka.
Well,
Brooks Koepka's got a little bit of a gut, but we've got DeChambeau, McIlroy. Justin Thomas is thin, but Jordan Spieth's in great shape. Like
yeah.
Phil
I mean, even
Mickelson
Tiger's in great shape.
Tiger's always been in great shape.
Tiger's all
Tiger's what started it.
That is it. Yes, he did.
Tiger's what started it. Like
he started that body.
Like
kind of type.
Jack was built, but he wasn't like cut.
Oh yeah.
Jack was just a big house, like
big
a
dude,
country boy, like a Nolan Ryan kind of.
Yeah, right.
Like,
right.
That was what he was. But even Arnold Palmer, like the steel
Arnie was
worker,
big.
kind of, you could see him like pounding steel, kind of like building his golf clubs in this garage.
Maybe he did. Was he a blacksmith on the side? All right, so what are we talking about? Godzilla Kong?
Godzilla Kong. We can get into it. We don't give any spoilers or anything like that. But Godzilla vs Kong. I watched it on Friday night, and then I started watching it again with my son the next day. I had a blast watching that movie. It was such a fun movie to watch. There were some times I got pulled out a little bit, particularly when they got a little science fiction-y, Star Trek-y.
Like when they traveled to Middle Earth there, basically, where, that...
The Star Trek-iness of it got a little... which is weird, because I'm totally in on these giant monsters, this giant monkey and this giant lizard fighting each other in the city. But you take me into this Middle Earth where there's this...
I didn't know what else to call it.
Science fiction Star Trek thing going on. Like, I was like, that kind of pulled me out a little bit. But I get it. And it didn't like completely take me out of the film. It just was that part I was like, I wish they could have gotten through this a little bit faster. Just because you want to see the monsters go head to head. And
that's
fights,
really what you were.
You want lots of fights with these guys. Like they've been kind of keeping Godzilla in the shadows. All these other movies that they did. Kong, on the other hand, they've been giving you a lot of King Kong on the Kong movies that they've come out with. Skull Island and King Kong, the one that Peter Jackson did. Yeah. They gave you a lot of King Kong. But, the Godzilla movies, they just were not giving you enough Godzilla, and they were focusing too much on the humans. And this time, we got our King Kong and we got our Godzilla, and it was fun to watch. I really enjoyed it. And some of the cinematic shots that they did, like there was one that's not a spoiler or anything, but like there's this plane that's taking off on the aircraft carrier. And it's just like he's going off as like Godzilla or King Kong's like right there. And like the plane shoots off. It was just a cool looking shot. And they had some cool shots like that were pretty fun to watch for filmmakers and stuff like that. But like, it's not one of those kind of films. It is one of those that you just sit there and it's shoving popcorn in your face and enjoying the ride. Cause I just had a smile on my face the whole time. I was just loving the battle and the final battle, which I'm not going to get into any spoilers on what happened. The final battle was epic and fun.
Yes. Yeah, it was good. It was. Listen, if the Middle Earth thing really was kind of like, okay, that's where it sort of lost me a little bit. Cause it was like, how necessary is that? Like, couldn't this story have been developed without, this center of the universe kind of thing? But listen, take this movie for what it was. You said it. It's a nice popcorn flick, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, you've got these two titans battling each other, kicking the shit out of each other all over, Hong Kong. And I mean, it just, good stuff. I mean, the fight scenes were great. I enjoyed that. It was like, look, it's kind of like a Rocky movie, right? I mean, like, do you really care that much about the whole, I mean, you just want to see Rocky in the ring.
I would say it's more like a Rambo movie. Like, because Rocky, the story does the buildup does kind of lead you to that.
You know what? You're right.
The more Rambo movies, like some of the setup is fine.
Depending on the Rocky movie,
Alien versus Predator
I would
kind of
agree.
deal. Like those are kind of like you want to just see them fight.
Yeah, right. Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah. Love that stuff. But I don't know. Damien said that he watched Godzilla vs. Kong and he said, man, it was not good. He said the 2014 Godzilla movie was smart enough to use a plot to put a human face on the destruction and get out of the way. Godzilla vs. Kong tried too hard to be interesting. See, I disagree because I think that the 2014 movie I think was horrible because they focused too much on the human element. Like I don't care about the humans in this kind of movie. You shouldn't care about the humans. You don't want to have. This isn't as much like you don't want to feel the human side of this stuff. You just want to see these monsters go crazy on each other because that's what it's about. It's not about the humans. This is not about the humans and how Godzilla protects them and all. I don't care about that. I just want to see them fight, and they just never really developed that well enough. There was always these little side plots and these things that just never really kind of got fished out enough. Like, and then even the all the Godzilla movies leading up, I just didn't like. I liked the stories that they had in the Kong movies more, but I've always liked King Kong more anyway. So I don't know. I think that Damien did say that the monster fights were great, but he didn't need all this setup and crazy tech.
I think I'm kind of with him on that. I'm with him on that.
I didn't like some of the setup, like some of the stuff with Millie Bobby Brown and the guy that the engineer, I can't remember what his name is off the top of my head. But some of that stuff was kind of funny.
Skarsgård?
No. The Millie Bobby Brown was it was like the side plot with the Godzilla side.
I did like the podcast guy though.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. He was an engineer.
Oh, him. Yeah, I can't remember his name. He was good. I liked him.
Him, Millie Bobby Brown was the girl, and then the other boy who was in Deadpool.
There? Who was the Deadpool kid? That's Russell.
Yeah,
he's got a terrible name.
Yeah. It was funny, but they didn't need to do as much with them. Yeah. Like it was kind of a side plot that didn't need to be there. It really didn't serve anything. If you took them out of the movie, it doesn't change anything really. Like they didn't really have any huge impact, right?
No.
So like it's one of those things that like even like the people who were along the ride, like Skarsgård and all that group, they didn't. I liked the little girl. She was my favorite human.
Yeah,
element.
She was good.
The deaf
with the signing, with all the sign language. Yeah,
that kind of gave you a little something, a human element that I was like, oh, I'm kind of rooting for that. Like, but I don't feel like they fished that out well enough. Like they didn't have it's not like he was really protecting her. Like he was just fighting Kong. He was just fighting Godzilla. It wasn't like, I would like to see something along those lines. Like, maybe, but
listen,
the fight, I just loved the fights and it was a lot of fun to watch.
Here's, by the way, I'll give this a 7 out of 10 for a Cinebros rating because
I'm close.
Listen, with monster movies like this, the plot is difficult to come by. It's a harder sell because really all you're looking for is what's in the title, Godzilla versus Kong. Mm-hmm. You just want to see the two fucking fight. And they did. You saw a lot of it and it was good. It was worth it. It was a good, listen, you hit the nail on the head. It's a popcorn flick. It's a nice popcorn flick. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was. I don't know that I'll ever watch it again, but it was good. It was fine. I had a good time. It kept my attention. It wasn't boring.
See, Damien said, look at something like Pacific Rim. Almost no plot, just had giant robots beating the hell out of each other for hours. Immensely satisfying. And I hated that movie.
I hated that movie.
I like it a little bit more. I like it a little bit more the more I watch it. But because the acting in that was so horrible. Like, they didn't even try to act. which pulled me out of the movie. That was a problem for me. This at least you have these characters that are in this movie that are at least trying to act. Like
the one thing too that I struggled with was like, when Skarsgård goes to Kong's habitat and
he was the worst character.
He's trying to convince, he's like trying to convince her that, we need Kong. And at first she's like, no, absolutely
and
not.
He's like,
and then like 30 seconds,
pretty please?
30 seconds later, Kong's laying on a slab on a boat, tranquilized and ready to fight.
Yep.
Like, wow, really? She gave in pretty easily there.
Yeah.
She really didn't put up much of a fight there.
If you ever listen to that pitch meeting guy, how did he end up on that slab with the, flying over? Because that's what I wrote,
Yeah. Because we had
to move the plot along.
Because they had to move the plot along very quick. Yeah.
We don't want to have like them, lifting Kong up, sliding a net underneath him, and
right.
without waking him up. Like,
but she gave in so fast. Yeah. Well, again, we had to move things along
because that's what I wrote.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, it was a fun movie. I give it a 7.5 just because I had a lot of fun watching it, and I'm looking forward to watching it again
so
with my son.
We're kind of in the same boat.
Yeah, and on Rotten Tomatoes right now it is, it has 76 critic rating, 76%. So that means most of them give positive. Audience rating 93%.
Oh wow!
Which I think is pretty accurate. Like a lot of people just loved it. They're having a lot of fun with it. But yeah, some of that science fiction stuff where they went into like Middle Earth or whatever that was weird.
How much are you enjoying like all of this content on HBO Max? Like getting these movies, it's great. I mean, don't get me wrong, I miss the movie theater experience. I truly do.
Especially IMAX.
Yeah,
I miss going to opening movies at my IMAX.
This is great though. Like all these movies coming out simultaneously. I like that they're giving people choices.
So it's funny because I was watching like one of the YouTube people out there that does
we got
it stuff.
She's great.
You can't see her. They can't see her on the screen because she's not quite far enough over. She's trying to get in, but anyway. So there was one of these podcasts that I was listening to or watching, and he was saying how the woman was saying how she feels like she doesn't want to watch these kind of movies on the TV at home. Like it just doesn't feel the same, and she doesn't have the. I was like comfortable sitting down, drinking a glass of bourbon, and watching Kong and Godzilla beat each other up, and I was epic and happy and just like a kid in a candy store.
Speaking of which, now she's got to be on screen.
See, I just had to put her on the full screen for a second. There she was.
She's so cute. Thank God she looks more like your wife.
You'd be surprised. She actually looks a lot like my sisters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But she does like. This time you put some glasses on her, she looks a lot like my wife. Yeah. All right. Go back to school.
She's such a happy kid.
Okay. All right. Hey, Brian.
Well, I will say this: she's not nearly as shy as she used to be.
You get on to the next little topic here. Let's. Why don't you start with how is it only? We'll get into the how is it only side of things. Let me get this out. Boom. Put that there. Come over here. Grab this. Do this. Do that. How is this only?
Okay.
Welcome to the Rotten Tomatoes game.
To start.
How is this only?
All right. Now we can go. We have it on there. This is a terrible graphic that will get changed. It'll get better. I promise. All right. Now I'm going to go talk to my daughter while you're on full screen.
Okay. All right. So for my how is this only, and the way that this started. So, oh my God, I was poking around YouTube all weekend. I was just bored this weekend, and I was just poking around YouTube, and I happened to come across a video of it was a Jimmy Kimmel clip from like 5 years ago, where Christopher Lloyd and Michael J. Fox showed up on the Jimmy Kimmel set and did like a Back to the Future kind of reenactment. It was like this 10-minute segment where they were like coming into the year 2015 and they came onto the stage, like, on the DeLorean and all that stuff. And it got me thinking about like Michael J. Fox movies. So I decided to go over to Rotten Tomatoes, and I looked up, I have also, for whatever reason too, this was just like this weird Michael J. Fox weekend for me. Like, in addition to like seeing that Back to the Future thing on YouTube, and then I happened to like on TV, Teen Wolf was on, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, this was just like this weird, bizarre Michael J. Fox weekend for me, that he was just sort of popping up out of nowhere. And so I went over to Rotten Tomatoes and I was like, all right, well, I need to look up. I mean, obviously Back to the Future is low hanging fruit as far as, like saying, oh, here's like my favorite Michael J. Fox movie. Yeah. But my favorite Michael J. Fox movie is a gem of a movie from 1987 called The Secret of My Success.
I don't even know what that is.
And The Secret of My... Are you kidding?
I probably have seen it, but I don't know. I go ahead. Keep going.
Anyways, well, here I'll read you the basic plot from it. Okay, so this is actually on Rotten Tomatoes under their movie info. So, recent college graduate Brantley Foster, played by Michael J. Fox, travels to his home in Kansas to New York City to pursue a new finance job. However, when he arrives, he learns that his position has been eliminated and he's forced to take a job working for his inept uncle Howard, played very well by Richard Jordan, who became a company president through marriage. Brantley starts as a mere mailroom worker, but quickly climbs the corporate ladder when he begins posing as an executive. And a lot of the movie is him going back and forth between being like this mail worker and also this corporate executive. This movie is, and I know people who love this movie too. This is an absolute cult classic of a movie. But what disturbed me when I looked it up on Rotten Tomatoes was not only was the tomatometer, or the tomato meter, whatever you want to call it.
I like that. I like the tomatometer.
Tomatometer. Not only was the tomato meter really bad for critics, it was also equally bad for audience, which shocked me because I was like, no, this is one of those, like, okay, I can understand why critics would pan this movie. By the way, it's 57% for critics. Now, again,
that's not terrible.
No, but listen, this is so different now. Like when because like, first of all, that's only based on 21 critic reviews. Okay. So like if this movie had come out now, it'd be based on like 250 critic reviews. It'd literally be 10 times that many. It does have an audience now, but the audience score though is also 58. So it's equally bad on
both. But it's close. All it has to do is get over 60.
But how is this only 57 and 58? To me, this is an 8 out of 10 movie. I love this movie. It's one of those movies, every single time it is on, I watch it. Every time. The remote gets put down on the dresser, on the nightstand, and that's it. We're in for the next hour and 26 minutes. I'm watching it.
Wow.
It's actually an hour and 50-minute movie, but I was just trying to say, like if I picked it up, early on. Anyways, this movie is so entertaining. It's so entertaining. It's just a great 80s comedy. I cannot believe The Secret of My Success is only 57 and 58% respectively on Rotten Tomatoes.
Talk a little bit more about it, because I'll be right back. I have to go.
Well, how dare you, Rotten Tomatoes? How dare you? I guess it's really not Rotten Tomatoes. Remember, they're just an algorithm website. But okay. All right. So I'm just looking at some of the reviews, and again, there's only 21 reviews from Rotten Tomatoes. So one of the things is, this is strictly a Fox fan picture. No, I disagree with that. You do not just have to like Michael J. Fox to enjoy the movie. Of course, he is the central figure, but there's actually a lot of other characters in this movie that are very, very appealing. His Aunt Vera is awesome. Even Richard Jordan, as bad as he is as his Uncle Howard, it's great at being bad. Let's see. Here's a good review. The 1980s were not a particularly inspired era, so it's appropriate that a middling romantic comedy like this one would earn the title of quintessential movie of the decade. I don't really know if that's actually a good review, but they technically gave it a good review. Anyways, so here's one. See, this is terrible. This guy, Christopher Null. What an appropriate last name. From filmcritic.com. He said, does the fun ever start?
Oh,
What a dick.
That is pretty messed up.
What a dick. A belabored charade of mistaken identities. Really? Rita Kempley from the Washington Post.
All right.
You're a bitch. Go suck an egg.
I like how you read a couple of the reviews. Maybe I should do that with mine.
Here was Roger Ebert, the late great Roger Ebert's review at the time. He gave it a 1.5 out of 4. He said, "Does the movie really believe anyone is as stupid as these characters? Does it care?" You know what, Roger? Fuck you. I mean, I wish you were still alive, but fuck you for that. Dude, Secret of My Success is a great comedy. Watch it. Dude, I want you to watch it.
Okay.
I would like as a homework assignment for you to watch that movie.
I
So
can do
anyways,
that for
that's my How Is This Only. The Secret of My Success, 1987, featuring Michael J. Fox, 57% with critics, 58% with audience. Basically fucking shame on all of you. All right, you're up.
All right, so here's I'll do mine pretty easily. You'll get it right out the gate. I'm gonna play a little clip of something from it, and it is one of the movies that I really fell in love with during college.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
You ready for it? All right, let's see if I can play this live. Do I have it on? All right, here we go. You ready? Oh, what's going on now? I'm getting a spinny thing. Stop it. Here we go. Oh, what the heck's going on with my iTunes? Oh, figures.
By the way, I've already formulated a guess in my head as to which movie.
That I'm gonna do?
Yeah.
You really already have? You think?
I'm just guessing in my head, but I think the timing might actually be a little off, so I'm probably wrong.
Interesting. Very interesting.
But it made me think of a movie. And then I looked
it
it up, and this would be a candidate for a How Is This Only?
So the movie that I'm talking about, and I can't pull up the clip because for some reason it won't let me do it on iTunes for some reason. But I'm gonna pull it up anyway. I'm gonna pull it up on. Here we go. All right. Let's see where.
This will be.
Yes, here's the original.
Okay.
Original song for it anyway.
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me.
Night at the Roxbury?
Yeah, baby.
What is Night at the Roxbury?
A 9% by the critics.
That's rough.
9%.
But what about the audience? I'm curious about the audience.
What do you think it is?
77.
You're very close. 69%.
Okay.
So
that's a really appropriate number for it too.
Yes. So it is one of those movies that is a cult classic in my opinion. I love the movie. There is just so many things with Steve and Doug Butabi that are so great. Those are characters that have lasted for such a long time. Even when they did stuff with Wild and Crazy Guys, they did stuff with. It's just so much fun to watch.
Well, it's an SNL skit, right? Originally?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Tip the cap. Emilio! That was the greatest thing. I used to do that all the time. Me and a couple of friends used to do that all the time. We had annoyed the crap out of my friend Mark because we used to do it every day, all day. We would tip the cap and then the other person would yell out Emilio and they'd be like, shut the hell up! Because we were doing it 3 o'clock in the morning, watching the movie. So
it is. I love that movie.
It is a classic.
Love it.
Just straight up stupid comedy.
Yeah.
And it's right up Will Ferrell's alley. Love that movie, and I cannot wait to introduce that to my son. He needs to get a little bit older, I think, but it is PG-13.
Don't go there yet.
There's a couple of another movie that I was starting to do, and you can put this in there as well. As I was going to keep it on the sports side today. And you know what? No, I'll keep it for the future. I'll just keep it for the future. I don't want to talk about it.
Oh my God, dude. So I'm on a page right now on Rotten Tomatoes where I'm looking at one movie, but then it says where there's a section under there that says you might also like.
Yeah. Yep.
I am literally looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 movies that I could do a How Is This Only on.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
4. I need to
ridiculous.
screenshot this.
Yeah.
because these are going to be like and I know one of them, you and I, if you haven't done it already, actually, there's one that you and I are going to wholeheartedly agree on because it's a movie we both love. I'm screenshotting.
If it's Tommy Boy, I've done Tommy Boy.
No, it's not Tommy Boy.
Okay.
It's not Tommy Boy.
Because I was, that's a travesty that Tommy Boy isn't over 60%. But
and what's ironic, maybe no, it's not ironic. Well, maybe a little, is that the disparity between the critic reviews and the audience scores are, well, one of them is only 8%, but everything else is either 20% or more. And one of them is like a whopping 50-something% difference. Okay. Crazy numbers. Oh my gosh. We have to do this again. We got to do a How Is This Only again. We got to do a How Is This Only.
We'll spin the wheel in a few seconds. So
that's right.
We'll see what comes up. So, all right. Let's see what else. Do we have anything else?
WrestleMania.
WrestleMania. So before you get into WrestleMania, why don't I spin the wheel real quick?
Go ahead.
All right, let me get that. So we got the wheel over here, and we can get into. I gotta do the eCam overlay though. Here it is. Oh no, that's the old one, isn't it? I think so. Did I download the new one?
What is love?
I think I did. All right, let's see if I. There it is. Wheel of Destiny. Yes. All right. Let's get into it. Hot mess. All right. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Wheel of Destiny comes on. The Mount Rushmore of characters in baseball movies.
Oh God, this is going to be easy.
Love it. Love it. The Mount Rushmore characters in baseball movies. Big fan. I wonder if I can put that.
Boy, my God, my George Washington is set in stone.
Is it?
Oh God, it's so easy. It's so easy.
It's so easy.
I still cry. I still cry actually at the end scene of that movie with that character. Yes. Yeah, it's hard for me to. I'm very weepy, as you know. So, yeah.
Me too. I tend to tear up from time to time.
You know what though? That's a good category because I'm gonna have some fun. We're gonna have some fun with that category. I think you and I are gonna have very different lists for this.
Probably.
I wouldn't be shocked if we had 8 different people actually, because there are. Sorry, hold on. Just to reiterate, it's just baseball movies, right?
Yes, characters in baseball movies.
Mount Rushmore of
that you love, that you just like, that you think are hilarious, whatever you want.
Okay. Oh my God. Now, and you might think like, well, this sounds like a pretty limited category. No, not at all.
I know who my George Washington is.
Yeah, I think you and I probably both have our George Washingtons figured out. Okay. But for me, now that I think about it, beyond George Washington, I'm gonna have to think.
I have like a couple in there. I've
got ideas.
I don't know exactly where I want to put. There you go. He's got one.
Who?
You're killing me, Smalls.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
See? Yeah, you can go to Sandlot. You can go anywhere.
Yep.
You can really get anywhere.
Yep. Hey, you know what's funny? I'm not even sure that Sandlot will factor in for me. There's just so many great baseball movies with great characters. I mean,
and it doesn't have to be a person that's in, like, on a baseball team.
I was actually just thinking that because I have someone in mind. So, but here's the other thing too. This works. This will play well with both movies that are, which they mostly are, fictional, but then you also have movies like, I'm not necessarily giving anything away here, but movies like 42, which are, Jackie Robinson, Branch Rickey, with
your boy Harrison.
Keith Cherry weighed in with a pretty easy one there. I don't know
Ricky,
that will
the
be
Wild Thing Vaughn.
I mean, I don't know that will be on my list, but I mean, I could completely understand why that would be on any list. So, I mean, Willie Mays Hayes,
Tom Berenger in that movie is great too.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah.
Tolbert, is that you? It's early and I'm hungover, and if you were gonna pull this shit, at least you could have said you were from the Yankees.
Damien said, if you asked me to do this 5 times, Monday through Friday, I might give you 5 completely different lists.
The only thing that will be I mean, my George Washington is so rock solid. It wouldn't matter how many times I do the list.
I think me too.
This individual will always be number 1. Always.
I think
always.
for me too, yeah.
Always.
Because it's near and dear to my heart for many reasons. And it's not even like because he's that great of a character. It's just something that connected with me.
I wonder if we have the same one. I'd be shocked. I don't think so, but because I don't know. I don't know if you know what my favorite baseball movie is. I mean, I think we've done a Mount Rushmore of sports movies.
Yeah.
And this would have been my Washington probably too. It is, because this is from my favorite sports movie, period. And it is a baseball movie, so.
I think I might know who yours is then. Yeah, I know who yours is.
I think you know.
I know who yours is. Mine is not that guy.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So, all right. Let's get into the end with WrestleMania. You can touch on WrestleMania. Get onto your I want to have you give a couple of your top matches. Give like 2 or 3 top matches and who you think are going to win those matches. Like to try and keep it kind of condensed. We have gone an hour and 25 minutes.
There's a couple things I want to. So first of all, if you are a wrestling fan, this is your nirvana this week, and I mean from Monday all the way till Sunday night. This is wrestling nirvana. Let me just give you the quick.
I was over here. I was in the corner doing like a little thumbnail posts. Well, while you were talking. So all the people saw me and then you were talking about WrestleMania and I'm over there doing this.
So let me give you, so the first things first, let me give you the lineup for this coming week. Tonight, Monday Night Raw, last Raw before WrestleMania. Tomorrow night, I am so excited for that. I'm so excited for this whole week. I just got goosebumps. 2 Hall of Fame inductions tomorrow. The 2020, because the 2020 was taken away from us because of COVID, and then 2021. So they are doing 2 Hall of Fame inductions tomorrow, 2020 and 2021. Let me tell
you something, brother.
And he will be part of the 2020 because the NWO is getting inducted. So he will be Hulk Hogan. The immortal Hulk Hogan will be a 2-time Hall of Famer. On Wednesday and Thursday, NXT TakeOver Night 1 and NXT TakeOver Night 2 on Thursday. Friday, the going home edition of SmackDown. And then Saturday, first night of WrestleMania. Sunday, second night of WrestleMania. Much like last year, WrestleMania is a two-parter again this year. Now, what's a little bit more exciting about this year's WrestleMania is that there will actually be some fans in the stands. Raymond James Stadium. It was supposed to take place in Tampa last year, and WWE, to be fair, didn't want to take away, some kind of potential, revenue or whatever, but they wanted to make sure that Tampa got something out of it. So for this year, WrestleMania again, 2 nights, Saturday and Sunday, and it will be partial capacity. I think maybe 30,000 per night, something like that. So you're not going to fill Raymond James Stadium, but at least you're going to have some audience reaction. Now, as far as matches, okay, so let me just give you the match breakdown, okay? So for night 1, pretty sure the main event, at least I hope it's the main event, is the SmackDown Women's Championship between Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. I'm really excited for this match. Boss versus the EST. I know I want Bianca Belair to win. I actually have a feeling Sasha's going to retain. She's been a really, really good heel champion since she beat Bayley a few months ago. I don't think they want to bring her reign to an end quite yet. So I want Bianca to win, but I think Sasha's going to retain. Then the WWE Championship match that night, Drew McIntyre against Bobby Lashley. I am having a really hard time with this. I think because Drew McIntyre, even though Bobby Lashley just won the WWE Championship, which was, by the way, a very long time coming, the guy really deserved it. He's been in the business for a long time. I was really happy to see him win, and he beat your lookalike, The Miz, to win the title. I actually have a feeling. So for some bizarre reason, if you're a wrestling fan, the WWE decided to break up the Hurt Business, which didn't make any sense to me. And Lashley, attacked Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. And I don't really understand why they broke that up, because that was a really good thing with MVP being the head of it. And so what I actually think was going to happen, Drew McIntyre did not get to have his big WrestleMania moment last year. Yes, he beat Brock Lesnar, but he did it in an empty arena in front of nobody. And I think they want to give Drew the moment this year, at least in front of some fans. So I actually think Drew might win back the title from Bobby Lashley and maybe get a little bit of help from a very pissed off members of the Hurt Business who might decide to interfere on the match. So my prediction for that one is that Drew McIntyre will get back the title, even though I don't want him to, because I want Bobby Lashley to retain the title. So listen, Latino rapper Bad Bunny is actually taking on The Miz in a match. I don't really have a prediction, nor do I care about that match. The tag team championship, AJ Styles and Omos versus the New Day. Steel cage match, Braun Strowman against Shane McMahon. I'm sure Braun will win. This match I'm actually very excited about, and it's probably considered to be on the undercard, but it's Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. If you're a wrestling fan, a pure wrestling fan, that is a fucking phenomenal match. Cesaro should get the shine, though. He should get the win. I think Seth needs to put him over, because it's time for Cesaro to take that next big step towards being a champion. And for him to do that, he's got to beat Seth Rollins. Now, night 2, this is the fun stuff. So we'll just kind of go from top up. United States Championship, Matt Riddle against Sheamus. I actually think Riddle will hold on to the title and beat Sheamus. I don't think Sheamus will win the title. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. By the way, Sami Zayn has just been the ultimate social media darling this past week, with all the gifs coming out of him dancing last week, and then people putting backdrop music to it. My early Clubhouse leader is the backdrop of Sami Zayn dancing to Rocksteady. It's so hilarious. You have to just go on Twitter and do a search for Sami Zayn, and then just look at all the videos. And Sami does this wild dance when Logan Paul was coming down to the ring. Yes, Logan Paul has gotten himself involved in wrestling for some reason that just didn't need to happen. But anyways, Sami's doing this whole conspiracy theory documentary thing right now, and it's a pretty interesting, it's a fun storyline, and he got Logan Paul involved. And so he introduces Logan Paul last week, and as Logan Paul is coming to the ring, Sami just starts breaking out into these really weird dance moves, and the internet just went buck wild with it and started putting in all these a lot of 80s and 90s video like songs into the background of him dancing, and it's platinum. It's pure fucking internet social media platinum. And my favorite one is, my favorite early leader in the Clubhouse is Rocksteady behind him dancing. It's just phenomenal. Anyways, I think Kevin Owens probably beats Sami Zayn. The Intercontinental Championship, Big E against Apollo Crews. I think Apollo might actually win. I think they've been building up Apollo's character as a villain now, and I think he's doing a good job in the heel role, and I think it would be good to put him over from Big E. Besides, Big E has gotten the best of him quite a bit. A match that I'm looking forward to, The Fiend versus Randy Orton. The Fiend, who was recently burned alive, is now came back, and he's haunting Randy Orton again with Alexa Bliss, who just couldn't possibly be any hotter. And I think The Fiend gets the win over Randy Orton. And then we come to a couple of, you've got the two big matches, the Raw Women's Championship, Rhea Ripley versus Asuka. This match is interesting. I think Becky Lynch will make her comeback. And I think she will interfere in this match. The Man, I think, will finally come back. The Man
was in one of my favorite shows, Billions.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. She made an appearance in Billions.
Really? How was she? Was she good?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was good. She came in as a wrestling character, but
okay.
But It was the way that she came in and what happened.
She's
Was
awesome.
tremendous.
I'll have to watch it. I'll have to look that clip up on YouTube.
Yeah.
Because I don't watch Billions, but I should. You would think
It's
I would.
such a good show.
You would think I would, right?
That show is amazing.
But I don't.
I can't wait for it to come back. It's supposed to come back, I think, later this year, but I cannot wait.
But I think the man is going to interfere. I think she's going to actually. See, here's the thing. I can't figure out whether she wants to interfere and help Asuka so that she can try to then take on Asuka for the title that Becky Lynch never technically lost, because Becky Lynch went away because she got pregnant. So she didn't give the title to Asuka, but they basically made this kind of rule that, when Asuka won whatever, oh God, I forgot what it was. It was Money in the Bank that actually, yes, it was the Money in the Bank. Asuka won the Money in the Bank match, but as it turns out, Asuka won the title because Becky was going away to become a mom.
Oh.
And so
I did not know that.
And now, her and Seth Rollins had their first child together. So, so I could see her coming in to maybe interfere on behalf of Rhea Ripley and help Rhea Ripley win the title to piss Asuka off. But I feel like Becky's coming to get her belt back. And I think maybe what she'll do is interfere, maybe help Asuka so that she can take on Asuka, because Becky will be the kind of person that says, I want to beat the person that basically I handed the title over to, not Rhea Ripley. Mm-hmm. So that would be my prediction for that match. And then listen, the main event, and I know a lot of people are upset about this. I understand why WWE did it. Here's the bottom line. Edge's comeback story has been tremendous. The guy was gone for 10 years. We thought he was done. And then miraculously, doctors cleared him to compete. Mm-hmm. Last year, January 2020, before the world went in the shitter, he made a great showing in the Royal Rumble, did not win, but was one of the final four, and it was eliminated. And then this year in the Royal Rumble, he wins, and he gets an opportunity to face Roman Reigns, who is perhaps the best he's ever been. Roman Reigns finally is a heel, and he's playing the character so well. The head of the table, the tribal chief, whatever you want to call him. It's just great what they're doing. And then Daniel Bryan somehow got himself inserted into this match. And I know it's pissing a lot of people off, but I will tell you, from just a pure wrestling fundamental aspect, to have Daniel Bryan involved with these two guys is pretty cool. Although I would have preferred to have seen Edge and Roman Reigns go one-on-one, but I believe that having Daniel Bryan in there is almost kind of like the giveaway that makes you think Edge is going to win. And listen, as far as I'm concerned, if this comeback story ends without, and Edge is one of my probably 3 favorite wrestlers all time. He's probably number 3 behind Hogan and Undertaker. Behind Hogan and Undertaker, Edge would probably be my 3rd favorite wrestler of all time. And as you know, having known me for a long time and having done these shows, and when we talk about athletes, I love, and I always root for the old guy. Right. I'm not, even when I was young, I always rooted for the old guy. I don't know why. I've always had that compassion for the older athlete, or even even in non-athlete movies. My favorite movie of the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy is The Dark Knight Rises, because I love the challenge of old man Batman having to overcome every odd. And most of what's going against him is his age and his injury history. And I just love the battle of the old guy having to overcome an extremely young Bane, and a
terrible script and
say whatever
terrible
you want.
Fight scenes and
say whatever you want. I love it. I love that movie. I love rooting for the old guy. Ever since I was a kid, I've always wanted the old guy to win. And I will tell you right now.
Are you giving away your Mount Rushmore?
Of what?
Of baseball characters?
Well, I guess in a way, yeah, you're right. Now that you mention it, but yes, actually, if you think about it, yeah, 100%. Ever since I was a kid, I've always wanted the older guy to win. It's not that I hate the young guy, but I like the story. It's not even that. It's just that I like the story of the old guy overcoming obstacles better. It's more intriguing. Mm-hmm. Than the young super athlete or super, whatever, being able to win. It's that's like rooting for it's the underdog story, essentially, right? So I will tell you this, because wrestling is ultimate fantasy world. If this ends in any other way than Edge not walking, I don't care how the fuck Edge does it. I don't care if he has to cut somebody. I mean, like, he better walk out of there with that championship. Because if that story of his comeback ends any other way than him walking out of WrestleMania with the championship and fireworks going off in the background, then Vince McMahon, you have horribly failed. Horribly failed. Because that is the only outcome that is acceptable. I know that you've built Roman Reigns as this really awesome heel, and him being champion is great because it fits in with that whole tribal chief, head of the table, big dog thing. It all works really well. But if this ends in any other way than Edge walking out of Raymond James Stadium with that strap over his shoulder, then you have fucked up royally. Because that is the only way that WrestleMania Night 2 needs to end. It needs to end with you fading to black and Edge holding that belt up or clutching it in his arms and looking at it with fireworks going off in the background. That is the only way WrestleMania ends. Any other ending is unacceptable to me. Now, I know a lot of people will probably say, no, Roman Reigns should walk away and he's had this great run and why should anybody come in and disrupt it? And that's why Daniel Bryan, I believe, was inserted into the match, because that way Edge can pin him and not take any of the shine off of Roman Reigns. You're not going to make Roman Reigns look weak if he loses the belt and doesn't even get pinned to lose it. So that's why 100% why I believe Daniel Bryan was inserted in this. Also, Edge has been kind of going full rated R superstar recently, which means he's kind of going heel, which I love, which makes it even better. So, like, to me, Edge should take out a steel chair and just beat the shit out of both of these guys. I don't care which one. I hope he stacks Daniel Bryan on top of Roman Reigns and pins both of them, to be honest. But that's the only scenario that works for me. Edge has to come away as champion. He has to be Universal Champion when this is all said and done. Any other outcome, you just ruined a great storyline of Edge's comeback. If Edge comes back and the storyline does not end with him winning the title, then kind of like, what was the point? Because when you think of Edge, yes, the rated R superstar, that character, but he is synonymous with being a champion. The guy is an 11-time world champion. 11 times. So you put a 12th on him now. He's in rarefied air as it is. What's the point of this storyline if Edge comes back, wins the Royal Rumble, but doesn't win the title?
Right.
Doesn't make sense. And that's my WrestleMania preview. Great week, though, ahead if you're a wrestling fan.
Keith Sherry says, Bri Man, do you think AEW will have a huge night this week to try and compete even more than normal? Will Brock debut?
Is that even a rumor that Brock is going to go to AEW? That would be nuts, by the way. I could see him. I don't know if I can see him doing that. By the way, hold on. Before I get to that question, speaking of AEW, also the other big thing Sunday night, I believe this will be debuting after WrestleMania, Stone Cold Steve Austin Broken Skull session with Chris Jericho, who is currently on the AEW roster.
Ooh.
Le Champion. So I cannot wait to watch that because that's really weird. And Tim Callahan brought up a good point. We were texting about it the other day, and he's like, I think that this shows that this is a clear indication that Vince does not view AEW as a threat. Because if he did, he probably would not want Stone Cold Steve Austin to have Le Champion, Chris Jericho, a bit of the bubbly on his show. I can't imagine that Vince would be cool with that. So actually, it shows a little bit of maturity by Vince too, in his old age to have that. But that should be a really interesting interview. I mean, plus the history those two guys have together in the ring, and Jericho just being the most. There has never been. You could say Chris Jericho is. If you were to do an objective all-time Mount Rushmore, he's got to be on it, because the guy's won so many championships, but also there has never been a guy in the history of professional wrestling who has reinvented himself as much as Chris Jericho has.
His mic skills are pretty good too.
Oh my God, he's the best. He's the best. He's the best. I mean, that's why I'm telling you, like,
he's so good at getting under people's skin.
But he's also technically a great wrestler. Right. He's a great wrestler, and he has reinvented his character so many times, with almost every single one of them being a massive hit. And he's a champion. The guy has won more titles than anybody, like, combined. I think he's probably won more titles than anybody. If you combine, like, World, Intercontinental, Tag Team titles, U.S. titles, everything. The guy's won everything. He is the ultimate professional wrestler. And he is absolutely a GOAT. And so for him to be on that across the table from Stone Cold Steve Austin, another Rushmore guy, is pretty fucking awesome. So really great WrestleMania week. To answer, I'm sorry, was that Keith's question?
Yes.
I mean, listen, it would behoove AEW to try to do something. I don't know if it'll be Brock. I can't see Brock walking away from WWE. Brock is such a mercenary, and I feel like money is ultimately the big factor with Brock, and I can't see AEW ponying up more money. And Brock already has that built-in relationship with Vince where Vince will fucking let Brock do anything. I mean, Brock barely has to work at all. And he gets paid a shit ton of money. I can't see Brock doing that.
Keith said the rumors I heard was Brock signed as well as CM Punk.
Oh my God. I mean, okay, I'll tell you what. I haven't heard either of those. If Brock and Punk both show up to AEW this week, then I don't care what happens at WrestleMania, AEW wins the weekend. Like, by far. I mean, I don't know the AEW schedule. I'm not sure like when Dynamite is on or whatever. I barely watch AEW. I occasionally tune in. It's not a bad product, by the way. It's actually, when I watch it, I'm actually pretty into it. It's hard for me. It's hard for me to commit myself to two different wrestling This isn't like back in the late 90s and the early 2000s when WCW and WWE were just, in the Monday Night Wars. That was a special time that we'll never have again as wrestling fans. I can't put AEW in that category. I will tell you though, that from a quality perspective, yeah, AEW is good. I mean, it's pretty good. I don't know. I'll tell you again, if Punk and Brock show up on AEW, then they've won WrestleMania weekend. That's all I can tell you.
That's too bad for WWE.
It wouldn't be great, especially when it's the first live in-person wrestling event. And you have him infiltrating the Broken Skull sessions, and Vince allowed that to go down. And oh man, that's a bad look. That's a bad optic for Vince. He will have royally fucked that up. I don't know. I mean, I desperately want Punk to come back to WWE, but it still feels like such a long shot. The breakup with him and Vince was pretty ugly. So I don't know. Tough to say. But you want to talk about intriguing storylines. Oh my God.
All right. Well, that's I think pretty much our show. We've gone on for an hour and 45 today. That's a long show. I will be, as usual, breaking it up into segments throughout the week. I'll try and get one out pretty much every day over the next few days. I do get my COVID shot tomorrow. I don't know why. What happened?
And I get mine on Thursday.
Oh, what? Oh, did my camera die? My camera died on me. And now I got to go back to my other camera. Boop. All right. That's not anywhere near as good.
Do you remember that? Boop.
Yeah. So I
Ron Burgundy stuff.
Yeah, my camera died because we went an hour and 45. It only lasts about an hour and a half, and my camera died on us. But anyway, that's why I have backup cameras. So we will pretty much get into the. I'll get all those segments out over the next few days, and then we will get back to you on Monday with all new topics. Feel free to hit us up on Twitter. I'm at Einhorn but you can hit the show up at Shane and Bri Man on Twitter. And then you can hit us up on Facebook at facebook.com/Shane and the Bri Man. And then I try and do some polls from time to time. I just did a recent poll. The most recent poll that I did was with Tua, because I wanted to know about the Bri Man's beloved Tua. And I posted it out there. I said, questions for Dolphins fans. Should the Finns draft a quarterback? And it is a resounding no. Tua is the future with 77.8%. And
all that tells me is that 22.2% of people are still fucking idiots.
Yeah, well, I mean,
you're an idiot. You're an idiot because the window for a quarterback in the NFL is at least 3 years. Every quarterback gets 3 years. You don't want to give him you won't give him 9 games, but you gave Ryan Tannehill 7 years. That's all I have to say. It's like that. It's the only argument I need, Sean. You gave Ryan Tannehill 7 years. You barely gave Tua 7 games, but you're ready to throw the towel in on him. See, this is the problem. We live in this weird instant gratification world where it's like Tua gets 9 games. You as an absolute nobody, not a scout, you're a fan. You're a fanatic. That's it. That's the only claim that you have. I'm in the realm of fanatics, but I have no actual football acumen whatsoever, other than to say, well, the eye test tells me that Tua is not the one. Really? After 9 games? But it took you 7 years to realize Ryan Tannehill wasn't the one? Okay. All right. Whatever gets you there. But hey, listen, but you're the perfect person to talk to about this because you have a quarterback who in year 3 finally realized his potential. And also, by the way, he got a little help. Mm-hmm. That was one of the Stephon Diggs. Let's not overlook Stephon Diggs, okay? That was a huge signing, and that was a big deal for Josh Allen, and that helped him take the next step. When your best receiver is Mac Hollins, that is not – sorry, weird. That's weird. To me, that's just that's like a lazy narrative. Or as Ryan Reynolds would say in Deadpool, that's just lazy writing. Because if you're going to weigh in on Tua Tagovailoa when his best wide receivers were Mac Hollins and Jakeem Grant, you don't know anything about football. Give him weapons and also give him a year to recover from his fucking hip injury and give him a full slate of games. And then actually in the second year of an offensive line learning how to gel. What are we doing? How are Dolphin fans so stupid? I don't know. Let's just. All right. You really woke the sleeping giant there.
Clearly. You're entertaining. You're entertaining Keith. That's for sure.
Why?
Why just wrote ha 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 ha.
I mean, it is basic logic, right? I mean, come on. You got to give a quarterback more than 9 games. You have to. And it's also like it'd be one thing if in those 9 games he was putridly bad. He was not. His touchdown, first of all, his overall touchdown to interception ratio was 14. He had 11 throwing, 3 rushing, 14 touchdowns to 5 interceptions, and he threw for almost 2,000 yards. I mean, it wasn't bad. I'm not saying it was great, but it wasn't bad. Like, I just don't know how you judge him off of that. You've got to give him. And this will piss off the haters even more. Not only does he deserve next year, but the year after that.
See, I'm not a hater.
3 years.
I'm not a hater. I just don't think he's got it.
That's okay.
I'm not a hater. Fair. I just don't think he's got it. And I'm gladly to be proven wrong.
But what you're saying is fair. You're just saying I don't think he's got it. Whereas other people are just saying you need to draft a quarterback. I don't know if that's what you're saying. Maybe that is what you're saying. I don't know.
I think it would be good to draft a quarterback because the worst case scenario is you flip that for draft picks in the future. And you start Tua and see how he does. And if he's got it, he should be able to perform no problem with a quarterback on his tail.
So you're kind of in the middle, but it's not an asinine take.
I say that it's like it doesn't hurt necessarily to do that. But
I wouldn't. If you want to draft a quarterback in this draft, I think that's general good practice. But if you do it anywhere in the first 3 rounds, then
all right,
you've got way too many other needs. Sorry.
All right, that's pretty much it for our show. And like I said, you can find us on Twitter at Shane and the Bri Man. You can find me on Twitter at @IKnowHisFinkle, and you can find the Bri Man
on Twitter at _Bri_Man.
And that's pretty much it for our show. We will be back on Monday around 9. We will try and get as close to 9 as possible. Today we had a distance learn day, so I was struggling to get everything there. And Bri Man's still having some issues, but we think we figured out the camera.
I think
so.
Well,
I might need to figure out something with the latency because it seems like it's a little laggy on my end, but we'll see.
Hey, the real star of the show.
She wanted to say bye too, so we will see you on Monday. And we'll be talking sports and sorts.
And we've come to the end of our program. And in the words of the great Tony Stark, part of the journey is the end. But we'll be back next. Boy, Monday will be an action-packed show, man. WrestleMania recap. We'll have another week of Yankees baseball under our belts.
Who won the Masters?
We got a lot of shit to cover next Monday.
Good thing you're in my headphones and not.
Yeah, because she would have been like, oh wow, I can say anything, cock,
What's
shit,
that?
balls, fuck,
Yeah.
whatever. Earmuffs.
You can almost hear? Almost? Almost. You don't want to hear things that come out of Brian's mouth.
Hey, why don't we ask Isla what she thinks of my glasses?
What do you think of Brian Man's glasses? Cool.
Cool.
She said
Cool,
cool.
cool, cool, cool. No doubt, no doubt.
Cool. No doubt. Cool. All right. Thank you. Peace. We'll see you guys Monday.
Stay classy, Planet Globe.
Have a great week. Bye.
Enjoy WrestleMania this week.
Bye. Let's see if we'll play it.
She had like a little Pillsbury Doughboy laugh going on there. It's like,
Music. Hear the noise. That was lame. So annoying when it does that.